We are recording.
Hello.
Show's over. Thanks, everyone. See you next time. Hi, everyone. My name is Kim Hess, and welcome to this Moment in History series. This is going to be a little different, as we are going to talk about a news article or what's going on in this moment in history. And of course, you all see my lovely, beautiful sister, Michelle Hess. Say something.
Hello.
So I just figured out that since I'm recording this on an iPad, a mobile device, Zoom doesn't show both of us at the same time. It's just going to show both of us. So you have to talk so people can see you.
Oh, like Microsoft Teams. Okay, it does that.
Is that how it is?
Yeah. Okay.
So basically, because I have a desktop, but the camera's not as well as good, so I use the iPhone or the iPad. But it looks like now I'm gonna need to get a new laptop so people can see both of us at the same time. Anyway, I'm digressing. Welcome to this moment in history with my sister Michelle Hess, and please let me know if I get lipstick on my teeth, because I'm always concerned about lipstick on my teeth or spinach.
Me too. I hear you, sister.
So,
or everything I eat, like an everything bagel every day. So it's either lipstick or like poppy seeds.
Those poppy seeds, get in there. I'll let you know. Okay, so today, let's just get right into it. We're going to talk about John Lewis and the Freedom Riders, and also Black people getting mistaken for the one other Black person you work with in the workplace, because evidently it doesn't just happen to normal people like us, it also happens to Congress people. Because as I read in this New York Times article, you know, Congress is just a more prestigious workplace than what you and I work at, or everyone else out there. And yeah, Black people still get confused. Has that happened to you? Have you ever been confused for another?
Oh my gosh, so many times. And not only has it happened to me where it's like somebody who looks nothing like me. I mean, it could be different skin tones, different lengths of hair, different textures of hair.
Different ages.
Yeah, as long as they're Black. I'm like, okay. And also, I remember I also had, this was the year before last, a male coworker, this parent came in and was like, oh, talking, blah, blah, blah. You two look like you could be brother and sister. Oh my God, I bet you guys get that all the time. Are you guys related? Are you brother and sister? Now, mind you, very nice looking coworker, cool guy, but he is like very brown skin, like dark skin, like locks, like just looks nothing like me. He's handsome, but I was
like, okay,
brother and sister.
Maybe because you're both attractive. Maybe I'm gonna give her the weird benefit of the doubt. Right.
Whatever.
We got a picture of your coworker so we could put you two side by side.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I should. Hold on. Let me see if I can get his Instagram. Sorry, James. If you're ever watching this.
I mean, you're giving him props. You're giving him a shout out with his Instagram. That he's attractive.
Let's see. Let me find a picture.
Or I wonder, you can do that, or maybe I can have one of the boys do it. Do the side by side comparison and put a link to it.
Sorry, James, if you ever see this. But
okay, now put James beside your face. Oh, you guys look nothing alike. He's very attractive.
Yeah. I guess I'll take it as a compliment.
What is his Instagram private or is it public? Because now we have to give him something for making him part of the show.
I don't know, because we're Instagram friends, so I don't know if it's private or not.
Okay. Well, you know what to do? If you can message him after we're done and ask him if it's okay if I link to his Instagram. Maybe he can get some followers out of this, if you want. Or
Well,
maybe
if anybody would like to try, I think it's, I don't know, I think it's open, but it's King James P, all one word.
is King James P, is he dating? Is he partnered? Is he married? Is he looking?
I don't know. We don't work together anymore. We both, we were at the same elementary school, and
Okay.
We both went to other, he works like in central office now, and I work at the high school, so yeah.
So is he married? So we don't know if he's married. Is he gay? Is he straight? Asexual? Can we get him a date out of this?
Right? He's straight, cute guy. He's
Hey, we about to
hair.
get you a date. Picture again? Let's see his picture again.
You like, make me keep going back to
James, I don't know you, but I want you to have love.
He travels. Here's a picture of him in the Bahamas.
But I am so, man, James, we just put all your business out there.
I know. I'm sorry, James.
Hopefully it'll come. I mean, maybe he will meet his wife through this and we'll be invited to the wedding and we can give a toast about this moment in history.
Or to keep in touch with him better, and be engaged right now for all I know. So sorry.
Sorry, James's fiance.
Right?
You have a very nice fiance there. Okay. And, you know, we go off of these tangents. I need to remind people that we talk about such deep issues all the time. We talk about freedom writers and escaping the U.S. from racism. There's a lot of articles out about Black people leaving the
I
US.
sent you an article. It was
You said that to me today.
Your time, so I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, and I didn't read it yet, but I will, because I've been reading about, I think Ghana open up their borders to Black people, like, come back home.
Come home, yeah.
You know, and we are forever thinking and analyzing and talking about race issues. So every now and then we have to play Cupid and get James a girlfriend and if he's already engaged, we will get you a nice present for your wedding.
Right?
Since you opened up our show. Thank you, James.
Yes, my brother, apparently.
I totally forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Your brother and your cousin, because you two look so much alike.
So much.
And if that woman only knew about the Hess genes, she never would have said that.
I think for white people, like, and they try to say that you look like just whatever Black person that they can think of. Yeah, and I think for them, it's a compliment, but yeah, it's not. I've always been like, really? Come on. But
I mean, unless someone tells me I look like Rihanna, that never happens.
No. I mean, I've gotten attractive people. I don't look like them, but
I never get attractive people.
Oh, really? Like, I used to get Brandy a lot when I was young.
Yeah.
And I don't see it, but whatever.
I always got Tootie from The Facts of Life.
I like Kim Fields. She's great.
How old I am.
I love Kim Fields, though. She looks great, though.
I haven't seen her lately.
Yeah, she's cool. I like her. She's good people.
I've just always, since I was a kid, have been called Tootie. I think because I was maybe the only Black person out there on TV that they could relate to that was
right.
my
They're like, oh, Facts of Life, yeah.
I don't know. No one really says I look like anyone anymore. Definitely not Rihanna or Beyonce. Or
I used to get Kelly Rowland a lot.
You look nothing like Kelly Rowland. She's gorgeous.
I love Kelly Rowland. I wish I looked like Kelly Rowland. She's great.
Take it. Be like, okay, Kelly Rowland. Kelly Rowland it is. So you're Kelly, then does that mean I get to be Beyonce?
You're Beyonce.
But I thought you were, but then when we have Solange and Beyonce, I'm always Solange, right? And you're Beyonce.
But I love Solange, though. That's my
I know. But our personalities.
Right? Yeah, you're all hippie and
you're all hippie. Speaking of hippie, I gave Breslin a worry doll. Because not only am I a hippie, I'm a cultural anthropologist. And I believe this originated in Guatemala. You put it under your pillow and first you tell the doll your worries. I'm really worried about racism and Donald Trump. Can you take care of them both? And then you put it under your pillow, and then the doll takes all of your worries away.
So kind of like a dream catcher, like for bad dreams?
Or? Kind of, but this is specifically for worries.
Or like prayer.
or like prayer, yes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I just use that example of my hippiness and my love of culture-ness.
You are rubbing off on me though, because when I was decorating Tony's office, like I just told him to send me money. Like I didn't even tell him what I was buying. I was like, I need such a dollar amount. So I'm buying all this stuff for his office, and I'm in there like opening boxes, and he was like, "Is that a little Zen garden on my desk?" I was like,
yes. Garden? It is. Oh man.
It's tiny, but it fits his desk. So I was like, let me see, I have a picture. I was like, so if
he's gonna need it.
It's like you can play with your little Zen garden.
Oh, I love that. I need one. And I know you picked out the candle next to it, right?
Oh, of course. He's a man.
For those of you that did not see the earlier interview, Tony is her partner, and he's a principal of a very prestigious high school outside of DC. So my sister is decorating his office, and definitely go look at that interview. I'll link it below because Tony's pretty brilliant.
He's pretty smart guy.
He's a pretty smart guy, but he also knows his way around Hot Sauce Williams and the menu in Cleveland. So you guys got to watch the interview to find out what a Hot Sauce Williams is, or I guess you could just Google it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Back to the topic at hand. Let's talk about John Lewis. And Michelle, I want you to, first of all, let's talk about John Lewis, and I want you to share what he meant to you, because you you definitely honor this man and you respect him, and his passing really impacted you pretty hard.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I've been like watching like clips, and yeah, it's just hard not to like cry. I've been like watching like tweets of him, and it's so cute. I don't know if you've seen, I don't know if it was a fundraiser, but he was somewhere and he was with people, and he was dancing to Happy to Pharrell's. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
I'll send it to you. It was so cute.
Other people can
dancing. I'll send it to you.
Who is John Lewis for those who don't know?
But so John Lewis, I mean, he was just this amazing civil rights icon. And there's so much to say. So I mean, really, like Martin Luther King Jr. was his mentor, and he was born in Alabama, and
Wait, can we stop right? Can you imagine having Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? I mean, with John Lewis calling him up like, look, I got this opportunity, but the salary is a little lower than I want. What do you think? Or how do I finesse this coworker who's driving me crazy? I need your wisdom. Like, that's amazing.
It's amazing. And I mean, not only is it amazing, it's that like who he wanted to be and who his mentor was. Like, as you know, I love Diddy, but like me being able to call Diddy would be a completely different conversation than. So yeah, I got out of jail last night after I got beat down by cops and attacked by dogs.
Fighting for the rights of future generations.
Right?
But I don't know.
Oh, so let me get back to it. So yeah, so Martin Luther King Jr. was his mentor, and he was like a young boy who in Alabama, he would hear about Martin Luther King Jr. and would listen to him speak, and he just really wanted to be a part of the cause. And he talks about seeing like the drinking fountains that said, white only and colored, and just all this segregation, and he just knew that it was not right, and he felt like he needed to do something about it. And he had I'm gonna find like all these links and just send them to you. He did an interview on NPR. Shout out to NPR. I know you love NPR too.
I love NPR.
Me and Tony were listening in the car one day on the way to work, and I was just like, crying. I was like, oh, I gotta go to work. I was like, my makeup. Yeah. But he was talking about, like reaching out and like wanting to be a part. And Martin Luther King Jr., like, got his people, to contact him. And he went to like Atlanta to meet him. And he was like, like, oh, is this the boy? Like he called John Lewis the boy because he was young.
How old was he?
I think when they first met, he might have been like 19 or so.
Wow.
And he just said Martin Luther King Jr. has always called him the boy because he was like this young like preacher, and he just wanted to fight for the rights of Black people. And so the March on Washington that, I think everybody knows that Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech, but John Lewis was the only living speaker left. He was the only person who spoke at that march that was still alive.
Really? And I'm not the best at math. So, that wasn't that long ago.
Well, John Lewis, he was also the youngest person to speak.
Okay.
He was 23.
And he
passed away at 80. So yeah, I'm not good at math either. So 57 years ago. That is not a long time.
That's not a long time ago.
At all. Like that's crazy. Not even 60. Wow, that's crazy.
Right.
So, I just, for me being 40 and, not living during that time, but, obviously seeing everything that we're going through now and, growing up experiencing racism as well. But he just meant so much to me because, most of our leaders and the people who fought for us, they died young. They're just gone. They were taken away. They're not here anymore. And for him to have, was still here and was still fighting for these same things. And he just always just spoke so humbly, and he just even in Congress, like they said he was the conscience of the Congress, like Democrat, Republican, they said he was always like, everyone respected him, like no matter
conscious of the Congress. Wow.
Conscious of and his catchphrase, his term "good trouble," it just, yeah, I love John Lewis, and he always talked about, for Black people to get in trouble, the silent protest and, standing up for what's right, and always talking about if you see something that's not right, you have a moral obligation. And, and really, really what I loved about him even more was that, I think a lot of people, especially now, they try to stand up for these causes, but it can be one-sided. Like, you don't have a lot of people anymore that just stand up for what's right, no matter what. John Lewis was so before his time. Like, he stood up for gay rights.
Wow.
He stood up for women's rights, and that's a lot to put on somebody. It's enough just to get Black people to be able to ride a bus with white people. But he was fighting for women. He was fighting for Black women. He was fighting for gay rights. Like,
amazing.
Anybody would have been mad at him if he solely focused on civil rights.
Right.
him to like champion all these causes. And so there's I don't know if you remember, so the show Living Single,
Right.
the Maxine, her character, so
Yeah.
Alexander is the actress. So I think it's a film production company she started, but she is doing this documentary called Good Trouble about John Lewis, and she was working on it before, so he got to be a part of it. So that's really, really excited about that. But it's called Good Trouble, and yeah, I love that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. And if anybody is, confused about the election or just fed up with the system and the government, I just still encourage everyone to go vote. Like, I go back and forth with how I feel about politics. And, there's some days I'm like, oh, it's a democracy and blah, blah, blah. And then there's other days I'm like, it's all rigged, whatever. We don't have a say. But I just feel like no matter how I feel, like this man, I mean, like literally, if I solely go to the polls for John Lewis, like I will do that because he got his head beaten in, he almost died, he went to jail. I mean, he saw friends and mentors die, so I could vote. So
wow. That's powerful. I'm really, really glad you said that because I feel the same way as you, just like I do on most subjects. We think the same,
yeah.
Which is such a blessing.
Yeah.
That as siblings that we share so many, if not all, of our views because
some siblings don't.
Some siblings don't. Some family members don't, and it can be very divisive. But this our father, who just texted me the other day that even though we differ views, that he still, because he saw the last interview that we did together, that he's so proud of us for speaking out about what we believe. And I was like, oh, so maybe, I'm going to definitely have Dad on.
You are.
And then after that, I'm going to have you and Dad on and just see what happens. Because people out there listening, when we all live in 3 different places, Ohio, California, DC. And so when we are together, we're having dinner, we're sitting around talking. I don't let Michelle talk politics with our father because, it gets heated.
Or religion,
politics, Black people, church. The only thing we agree on is food, really. Ice cream,
steak.
Ice cream steak, but not Golden Corral though.
Water. We all love to go look at water and be around water.
Look at water. We all like nature, so but no politics or religion in nature or while we're eating steak and ice cream. But I'm glad that you and I can connect on that, so I can talk to you every day, about these issues. But I'm really glad that you're saying this about the voting, because I believe a lot of us of every race, sometimes we're like, especially Black people, I don't know if this really is a democracy. I really don't know if my vote counts, because we see everything going on in our country. Sometimes it feels like our vote doesn't count. But you're talking about John Lewis and everything he did, and other civil rights leaders, and not even leaders, just people that were out for the cause, for us to vote, for us to drink out of the same drinking fountains and go to the same schools. So for that, I will vote. And I'm just really glad you brought that up. And then hopefully other people will hear this and vote. I mean, literally, we have nothing to lose.
Right.
And there's so many people that their vote has been taken away. Like if you've been in prison and then you get out, you've served your time, but oh, well, you can't vote. It's the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard of. But that's
right. Another. And, just with our current president, like there were someone on this great Twitter that I follow, he was basically like, you can drag. I don't care if I have to be drugged through the street in the middle of a pandemic with no clothes on, in a hurricane, like through alligators. I'm going to vote Trump out of office.
Wow. Who is
Else,
that? Do you know?
I don't want to mess up his name.
Well, you can tell me what.
Yeah,
I'll leave it in the notes.
yeah. And someone else was like, everybody's just speculating like who is Biden gonna pick for, his running mate, and who's he gonna pick for vice president. And someone else was like, his running mate could be a ham sandwich. I want a ham sandwich with all of my might. Pretty much, that's how I feel. Yeah.
That ham sandwich.
Ham sandwich 2020.
Speaking of ham sandwich, you want to hear a joke? Okay, this is my second favorite joke in the world. Ham sandwich.
Better than fun guy?
No, yeah, that's my second. Fun guy is the first. I'll tell the fun guy joke on another episode. But a ham sandwich walks into a bar, and the bartender is like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And the ham sandwich is like, "Hey, I just need a scotch." And the bartender's like, "Nope, can't do it." Ham sandwich was like, "Man, I've had a rough day at work, the pandemic, COVID, protests. Just give me a scotch," right? And the bartender's like, "No, dude, you're gonna have to leave." And the ham sandwich is like, "Come on, just give me a drink. I don't understand why you won't give me a drink." And the bartender says, "Look, we don't serve food here." See, you laughed. I have literally been telling this joke for like 30 years.
That is so, I feel so embarrassed for the boys right now.
My children love that joke.
Your children, they're grown men, but
my 20-year-old and my 17-year-old, they love that joke. And Huddy's gonna love that joke too. My nephew.
Oh no.
So, bringing it right back, I love that you inserted the ham sandwich. They would vote for a ham sandwich over Trump because that let me tell my joke. But I also would vote for a ham sandwich over our current administration. Yeah. So, I mean, the ham sandwich couldn't do any worse, and it'd be delicious.
It'd be delicious, unless you don't eat pork, then.
But I'm sure even those who don't eat the swine, AKA Tony, I've had a few guests on here that don't eat the swine. Maybe I should follow their.
I know. I was like, should we stop eating swine?
I'm sure even people who don't eat pork, vegans, my partner doesn't eat pork, your partner doesn't eat pork. I'm pretty sure they'd still vote for a ham sandwich over Donald Trump. So, and speaking of Donald Trump, has he come out and said anything about John Lewis's passing? So, I mean, I know the White House has probably had an official statement, but has he said anything?
So John Lewis passed away Friday, like really, really late, like almost close to midnight. But like so many people were tweeting like these tributes and coming out with statements like at midnight, at 1 a.m., at 2 a.m., Saturday morning. I mean, Barack Obama, of course, as wonderful as he is, like his statement was just like long and heartfelt and just full of emotion and gratitude and just honor. And I remember watching the news at maybe like 1 in the afternoon, and they were like, Trump has yet to come out with a statement. And I forget her name. Oh, I feel so bad. Her last name is Bass, but she's a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. She literally tweeted like, she tweeted him directly and was like, at Donald Trump, we don't need you to say anything. Just be quiet. Let us have this time to reflect on this man. Don't say anything about John Lewis. Just let it be. And I don't know if he just did it to spite her, because I mean, he didn't say anything until late in the afternoon, and it was very short and it was very generic, and it was just like, John Lewis was an icon. Melania and I send prayers to the family. Like, that's it. I'm like, okay.
Wow. Well, I mean, I Okay. I mean, at least it wasn't his usual nonsense. And I wonder if the people around him were like, just you have to put something out, but let me do it.
Right? Because he went golfing, because everybody was like, this man went golfing. Like, is he going to say anything? And yeah, so finally, and yeah, I'm sure he probably, I don't know, he probably didn't write it, or they said, this is what you have to write. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm over him.
Okay. Well, at least he didn't say anything silly. Okay, so I'll take that.
Because because the topic of our show, because when Elijah Cummings died, I said the same thing. I was like, he better not say anything. He better keep his mouth shut, because he was fighting Elijah Cummings before Elijah Cummings passed away, like sending him those mean messages, talking about Baltimore. So I was like, this man just better not say. So
Wow. Okay. Well, so for those of us who don't know that much about the Freedom Riders, because I knew kind of in general that they were people who, were marching for our freedom. Do you have anything to say about the Freedom Riders? But I do want to mention an interesting tidbit that I found out. But I'll just read this. Who were the Freedom Riders? The original Freedom Riders were 13 Black and white men of various ages across the United States. Did you want to say something before I drop my tidbit? And this was in 1961.
Just that, for me, I think the interesting part about the Freedom Riders was that the fact that it was in 61 that they had to do this and start this, like the Freedom Riders started because there was a Supreme Court decision that ruled buses being segregated was wrong. And that was in the 40s. And
I did not know this.
It was like 45, 46. It was in the 40s. But the southern states were not upholding that decision. They didn't care. They were like, whatever. And so it was, Tony's really good at, he knows all the court cases. I forget the Morgan versus Virginia. It was a court case in the 40s. And basically the Supreme Court ruled, okay, yeah, that is unconstitutional. That's not right. Buses should not be segregated. But the southern states were not upholding it. So there was another court case in 60, I believe. And then the Freedom Riders are like, okay, they're just going to ignore this. So they started riding the buses.
It said they left Washington for New Orleans in 2 buses.
Yeah. But it's ridiculous because like they shouldn't have even had to do that in the 60s for a court case in the 40s that already said it was wrong.
See, Michelle, I did not know this. I did not know that the Supreme Court had already ruled on this. I thought they were making a stand saying this is wrong. So basically, the highest court of the nation had already said this is wrong, but the southern states, reminiscent what they do, they like to cling on to the oppression of Black folk.
Yep. But the messed up part was the court didn't punish them. Nobody said, hey, remember this ruling. They just let them be.
Right. I mean, and sorry about the dog in the background. I actually had my headphones on when some of you saw me take them off. And then I realized, I'm not hearing anything from the headphones. I'm just hearing it from the iPad. So sorry about the dog. But, much like you could say, I mean, I guess the Supreme Court hasn't ruled on like police murdering people. But, there's no one telling, I'm trying to relate it to something present day. There's no one telling the police to stop killing people. What would be a good something today that the Supreme Court has ruled on? I mean, maybe like Roe versus Wade, and there's certain states that are still fighting back against that. we're talking civil rights. And once again, the Supreme Court should not have to rule that riding a bus, a Black person riding a bus, or anyone of color, because I'm sure it wasn't just Black people. We'll have to go into this, but I'm pretty sure any person of color that would have gotten on a bus in Virginia in the 50s would have been, what's the word? Ridiculed, thrown off the bus, what have you. So, yeah, civil rights, man. And this is just our conversation is giving me such more of an appreciation for John Lewis and the Freedom Riders. Who knew?
Right?
I didn't know that. So what I found out, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's crazy.
I ended up looking up the Freedom Riders before we started talking, and I wanted to know who they were. And I found out, you probably know this, but a lot of people I think listening and watching don't know this, is that Stokely Carmichael of the Black Panthers was a Freedom Rider.
Absolutely.
I did not know that. He was 19. And so once again, to all the people that think that the Black Panthers were a terrorist group or hated white people or whatever people think about the Black Panthers, that's not true. This is one more affirmation about the Black Panthers and what they stood for and what they were all about, right?
Right.
And I find it's already interesting that the Black Panthers aren't taught about in school, but yet there's this false narrative that and even some people think that they are the Black equivalent to the Ku Klux Klan.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely, because remember when Beyonce had the Super Bowl, she was a Super Bowl entertainment, which she was not the headliner. It was a Coldplay. Was it Coldplay?
Yeah, it might have been.
It was Coldplay. I was going to say Maroon 5, but I think it was Coldplay.
No, Maroon 5, they were the headliners in Atlanta, because I was hit. I love Maroon 5. Now, don't get me wrong. I have always loved Maroon 5. Maroon 5 fan. Love Adam Levine. Like, they're great. They're great. But this is Atlanta. Come on. Sure, you've got Ludacris, Jermaine Dupri, you've got Outkast. I mean, Big Boy did a quick little thing, but you've got so many people from Atlanta, and you picked Maroon 5?
Is Maroon 5 from Atlanta?
No.
They just picked Maroon 5. Yeah. That's another show. We should do all the Super Bowl lineups.
Mind you, that to be fair, I don't know if there were maybe like Black artists that were approached and said no.
Okay.
Because it's the NFL, so maybe.
To be fair. But Beyonce, when she did the Super Bowl with Coldplay and Bruno Mars, she and her dancers were paying homage to the Black Panthers, right? With
those were great outfits, yeah.
And a lot of people, mainly white people, lost their freaking minds. I was still in school getting my master's, and I ended up doing kind of like one of my projects on that. And I did a slideshow with all of the hateful tweets and messages and articles that people were writing about Beyonce and the Black Panthers being a terrorist group, and how could she do this? How could this be allowed? Fox News went crazy. And that was really, I think, maybe the first time that I realized, do white people not know that the Black Panthers started the breakfast program?
Free lunch, right?
Right, that we all have in our schools today, or that they would literally help kids get to school by crossing the street, and crossing guards. Don't quote me, but I believe crossing guards actually came from the Black Panthers, that whole idea.
Wow.
Because, wherever they were in Oakland or Berkeley, people would speed, by the school, which they do today. And the Black Panthers would go out, make cars stop so kids could cross safely to the crosswalks. And I was like, I know this, right? And I am not a huge history buff, but I know this. And so if they don't know about the Black Panthers, then they definitely don't know about Stokely Carmichael at 19 being part of the Freedom Riders.
So young. They were really, I mean, they were the leaders. Like, look at Fred Hampton. He was like 21 when they killed him.
See? So
young.
We, you and me, are definitely paying respects to all of the Freedom Riders, you know, which included white people. I think this should be taught more in history, that white people were part of this, that white people's voices, you know, were a part of it, because sometimes that's the only voice that other white people, or even some Black people, or all races, give credibility to someone white fighting for this cause, right? Sitting at the counter of Woolworth. So yeah, look to your history and see that white men and women were doing this fight too. And white men and women and Asian and Latinx and gay and transgender, we should all be in the fight for civil rights, equality, hell, being able to ride a bus. Don't even get me started. Being able to wear your hair the way you want to at work.
Exactly.
Being able to get a job, no matter what gender you were born into. I mean, we could go on and on, but we won't. The next thing we're going to talk about is, so we talked about John Lewis and just how much we love and appreciate him and everything that he did for us to be sitting here right now having this conversation. And then, you know, who were the Freedom Riders? But now, what really started us, what I really wanted to mention, there's a New York Times article that says, and you told me this yesterday, so I just looked this up. 2 Republican senators post photos of Elijah Cummings in John Lewis tributes. So we alluded to this earlier, that some people, some non-Black people, because not even just white people, it's everyone at times, who will confuse. I mean, these are civil rights leaders, right? So if you're going to confuse them, congressmen, you know that you are confusing, you know, 2 Black coworkers. And I'm sure there's some psychological study on it, or maybe I have to do the anthropological study on that. And I'm sure it's not just white people confusing Black people. There's probably all races that do it. But I think why Black people, why we get so upset is because we already don't feel seen.
Yep.
Right. So if I'm at work and I'm working hard and I'm doing my job and I don't feel seen, I don't feel included, I don't feel like I belong there, and then you call me Stacy and I'm Kim, and I know Stacy is the only other Black woman in a different department who looks nothing like me. You know, Stacy might be 25 with, you know, long straight hair, and I'm, you know, 46 with a natural fro, and I work in a completely different department. And that has happened, and I want to say that's happened at almost every job I've had. You know, and they catch it, and to be fair, I'm sure I have done it too, right? I'm sure I have done it, because we are all human. But also there is that fact of we already don't feel seen, and then you really don't see me if you're calling me by someone else's name, who happens to be the only other Black person in the company. Or they say you look like a very attractive man that you look nothing like.
I have a funny story about that, So this happened in high school. So I had a very good friend who was biracial. Her mom was white and her dad is Black. And I by no means was a straight A student at all. She was. And her mom, I remember one time, and like I said, she's like one of my best friends, very, very good friend. Her mom was like Girl Scout leader and all involved, whatever. So like I grew up with this girl from kindergarten through 12th grade. So this is in high school. I remember her mom asking me, the child, something to the point that her daughter, my friend, got a B in PE in gym class and asked me what my grade was, what did I get in PE, because she just assumed that, one, no way her daughter could have gotten a B, and two, the gym teacher must have confused you two because you're the only Black people in your grade level.
He's asking you, a child,
the kid.
Why not just go straight to the gym teacher?
And honestly, like we talked about before, like there's so many little racist things that I don't think you even realize as a child, and then you grow up like I literally was thinking about this maybe a month or so ago. I don't even know why. It just like popped in my head. And I was like, why didn't she go to the teacher?
Right. And then that puts a burden on you. And it's basically telling you that you're not as smart as her daughter, even in PE.
Even in, I'm sorry, even in gym class.
Right.
Right. And I honestly, I don't remember my response. I wish I did. I have no idea what I said.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you said, because I'm sure at the time you're a child, whether you're in elementary, middle school, or high school, you're still a child. Right. That conversation should not have been had, because there's so many implications. There's so many microaggressions there. Once again, I will say this all the time as an anthropologist and as a diversity consultant, that we are all on a journey. Some people are not as far along on their journey. And so even though this woman had a Black husband and a biracial child, she was still very, in a very early part of her journey about not being conscious of the impact that you make when you say things, particularly to Black people, very, very particularly to a Black child. Because here you are at 40, we're talking 30, 25, 20 years later, that this is still something that's in your mind, and this is still something that you have to deal with. I just implore everyone out there to literally think before you speak to a child, and before you speak to someone of color, definitely before you speak to a child, a Black child, because as we're seeing right here, these things stay with you, and it fosters imposter syndrome. It fosters the feeling of not being good enough, of people pleasing, having to fit in so people will like you. I mean, so many things. And I know who you're talking about. Lovely, nice woman. But yeah, that's something that, and I own the mistakes that I have made in the past. I've made lots of mistakes, but my thing is, I know that they were mistakes, and I've apologized. And when I can, a lot of people will say things and they have no idea the impact that they made. And we talk all the time about intent versus impact. A lot of people will say, I didn't intend to be racist, or I didn't intend to hurt your feelings. That's not what's important. It's the impact of how you made someone feel. So I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, but you made a good point. Like, I told that story, because even somebody with a biracial child assumes that non-people of color just think people of color look the same.
Right.
Yeah, but like in no way yeah, of course that stuck with me, but yeah, like I in no way am I like, oh, she's an awful person, and now yeah, she
No, not
didn't
at all.
know, had no clue. She was just obsessed making sure her daughter got an A.
Right. But like I said, that's a conversation that should have been had with the teacher, not with you,
Exactly.
because you are very, very smart and very confident woman.
But it was gym. It wasn't like
It was Jim.
philosophy class.
A child that didn't have the parents that we had or the confidence that we had, that could have been a lot. Like, here is this white woman who, I trust because she's my friend's mother, is basically saying that there must have been a mistake, that the full Black person would have gotten the lower grade. Like, she didn't know what your grades were. You could have been a straight A student as well. But that assumption that being Black is being less, right? So much love to her, much love to her, and your friend, who I really liked as well. But yeah, so once again, confusing Black people. So for any non-Black people that are watching this, hopefully this will shed some light on the uncomfortableness that Black people deal with. It's just not a slight, like, oh, I called Mike John because I had just seen Mike a few minutes ago, or I was thinking about Mike. Like, this is, kind of ingrained, and it makes you feel less than. I could take it deep about the enslaved Africans that were brought here were stripped of their names, right? And so when you call me by someone else's name, man, see me.
Exactly. Like what we were talking about, like how, I'm trying to trace our ancestry, and it's interesting, it's amazing, but you get to a point where it hurts and you're like, oh my God. And like I told you, on our dad's mom's side, I got as far as I could go, and the slave owner, his last name was Whitelaw, of all the names.
How ironic.
Right? And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, so our ancestors were literally stripped from their land, their home, came over here, and their name was changed to Andy Whitelaw. Like, seriously?
Whitelaw.
Like, it's ridiculous.
And our last name is Hess, which is very German. And I always joke when, this was before the internet, when I would go in for a job interview or whatever I was going into, people would be shocked when they saw me because my name was Hess. And I always imagine that they imagine like this blonde, blue-eyed white girl bouncing in, especially if you talk to me on the phone. And back then I wasn't wearing my hair in an afro, and now you can just Google someone and see what they look like, which takes away the fun of me walking into someone's office with an afro and red lipstick. Like, I'm Kim Hess.
I'm Kim Hess.
Power to the people. But so this article, the two Republican senators, I'm going to call them out, was Marco Rubio, who, when John Lewis died, he put a picture of himself with Elijah Cummings, who, when did Elijah Cummings die, Shell?
He died in 2019, but earlier in the year.
He was also a great civil rights leader, but wrong black guy.
Like, I just don't understand. Like, even the fact that he was with one of these people. Okay, so maybe you never were in the room with John Lewis, but you were shaking Elijah Cummings' hand, talking to him, that you had a picture. How did you not know who you were speaking to? You just pull up that picture?
Right.
Like, why didn't you, or your people who run
Your
your
people.
just Google John Lewis.
Right.
I mean, hell, if my boss was a public figure, I'm gonna Google John Lewis, Marco Rubio. Like,
thank you. And exactly. And I like to look at the big picture. So I'm sure this is a legislative aide or a staffer. But once again, if it's important, which is what I do diversity consulting for government agencies, nonprofits, companies. It's important that your whole team embraces the fact that we live in a diverse society and not to just assume, right? So, we kind of got to put it on these senators that whoever is in their office, made a really big mistake. They may not think it's a big mistake, but it's a really big mistake because you and I are having this conversation. Other people are having this conversation. Once again, see me. Elijah Cummings and John Lewis are two completely separate human beings. They both done amazing things, but they're different people.
And how does someone's family feel?
Yeah.
If I passed away and somebody was like, oh, it was such an honor to meet Michelle Hess, and it was a picture of them with
your
gosh, like it's not the same thing.
Not the same thing. And the thing that you told me this, Marco Rubio didn't apologize. In his tweet, he said, earlier today, I tweeted an incorrect photo. And then John Lewis was a genuine American hero, blah, blah, blah.
No, sorry.
But there's no apology to the family, to his constituency, to Black America.
No.
So did I say who the other person was? So the first one was Rubio. And the second one was, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there was a third, a Democrat, a woman, a senator in Virginia, but whatever.
And someone said that a newspaper person had put the wrong. It's the mix-up. The original photo taken in February 2014 by the Philadelphia Inquirer photojournalist Lauren Schneiderman was removed from Miss Schneiderman's personal website. So she got it wrong too. And she's a photojournalist.
That is her job.
I don't want to shame you here, Lauren. But once again, we as Black women, we can't make mistakes like this.
I mean, get it right. You're a journalist, photojournalist, whatever. Like, get it right.
And it's been there since 2014.
Like, if you're confused, get it right before you do something like that. And I will say, I want to give full disclosure that John Lewis did make fun of this while he was alive. He did make fun of this and say, like, people would confuse them. So I will say that. But that's even more reason to make sure when you're paying tribute to someone who's passed away that you get the correct picture. If you know that this was an ongoing problem in Congress, that people were confusing these two, who I don't think I can
point it out.
But
he pointed it out in a very nice, joking way.
Like, it is, I mean, just, it's not hard. Fact check and post. Like, I just, like, there was this tweet, I have no idea who it was, but this man was posting yesterday about John Lewis's district and who the Democratic committee was choosing to put on the ballot to replace him. And he was listing these people, and one was one of the potential people who didn't get it. But I think he used to be like the president of Morehouse, or don't quote me, I need to go read it again. But people were like tweeting him like mad, like, oh, you didn't give him his, proper title, and he's this, that, and whatever. And the guy like was very clear, and he wasn't a journalist. He was just a person like me tweeting out something. And he was like, he was like, oh, there's like 3 people with this name. I sent the list, but I was fact checking, to make sure I got the right one before I put any titles before his name. But, thank you for the clarification. Like, that's all you got to do.
Yeah, that's classy.
The only thing that made me feel better about Rubio was like people were like blowing up his Twitter with, you gotta look at his Twitter. People were blowing up his Twitter with pictures of like, like John Lewis said, what an honor it was when he met Rosa Parks. And it was like a picture of a white man and like Beyonce, like not even him. Or they were like, oh, it was such an honor, when Mark Rubio met, Barack Obama, and they would like Photoshop like him and like Morgan Freeman. It was just like all this.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Oh, there was one. It was like
just happened as well.
The best was, remember when Rubio met himself, and it was a picture of him shaking Ted Cruz's hand. I was like,
I gotta put that down there because I love it.
Jerks.
So yeah, just make sure you have the right Black person in the photo, because there's more than one of us out there. So
I mean, I think what really bothers me about that, it's like, it's not even, I mean, of course, yeah, you're just confusing. Okay, 2 Black people here in the office and you're calling us each other. But what really, really bothers me is that like I really take the time to get to know the people I work with or that work for me, and treat them as individuals and with empathy, and they're people. So
right. Individuals.
Yeah, so I think that bothers me even on a bigger level than, okay, you confuse the 2 Black people, because it's just like, you don't care at all about me as a person. Like, I would never, ever mix up somebody. I don't know. That's really weird to me, like how you could even do that.
But I think you hit the nail on the head. You care, right? You care about the people that you interact with. Or if you were tweeting something, condolences to someone's family, you care about the person and their family, right? Once again, I'm sure that Mark Rubio and the other people that confuse Elijah Cummings or John Lewis with Elijah Cummings didn't do it themselves. They have staff and they have teams. But let's say someone on my team did that, I would hope that I would care enough about what I'm tweeting or posting about to give a really heartfelt apology to those people. Because even though it wasn't my mistake, I'm still responsible for that mistake. But once again, getting down to it, it's who you care about. So this is once again like that I've been talking about performative justice. This is just something that, they probably thought they had to do. So they did it. And they didn't really care, because if it was someone that they really respected and their staffer put the wrong picture in there, I feel like that would have been a great teaching moment. Not only would they have talked to the staffer about it, they would have talked to the entire staff about it, and then they would have put it out to the public. This is the mistake that me and my office made. Heartfelt apologies, not only to the family and constituents and Black America, but to John Lewis, right? But once again, like you said, you care. And maybe that's where all of this stems from, is not caring about the people that you're interacting with. So I guess that's a good lesson for us all. Let's start caring. And if you make a mistake, because we all make mistakes, say you're sorry.
Exactly. It's yeah, like I don't understand that either. Like it's not hard. It's
It's not hard for
well,
some people.
it is. It is hard to apologize when you know you've done something wrong, but just do it. I mean,
So on that note, can we make another episode about America apologizing to descendants of slaves? We're sitting up here saying, yeah, it's hard, but just do it.
well, but the problem, yeah, that can be a whole nother thing. But we're never gonna get an apology because the white people of today look at people like you and me, and they're like, "You guys have an effing great life.
Right.
You're
You have black president.
educated, you're happy, you've got families. What? And I didn't do anything to you, so what am I saying sorry to you for?"
Oh no, there and it's not people. It's not so much people like you and me. It's Barack Obama. It's athletes that are millionaires. Why am I apologizing? Everything is fine. Just get over it. Just get over it. That's a whole nother topic. So I want everyone to tune in because we will talk about why this particular item of race in America cannot just be gotten over. It's almost like you cheat on your spouse and then everything is fine because they have made you go to counseling or whatever. They decided to stay with you, and then every time you check out a man or a woman that looks good or you're sending secret messages, they're like, just get over it. I'm going to work on that analogy, but that's how
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Just get over it. You're fine, right? So, okay, we have talked about a lot as we usually do. So let's see, how should we end this? Let's end this on a positive note, because I think our next video is going to deal with the ice cream, the song that you hear from ice cream trucks, and how that is derived from another racist song. What was it called? Niggas Love Watermelon?
Called Nigga Love a Watermelon.
Well, and not nigga like rappers, but nigga.
Yeah, I'm just saying that to be
me too.
polite.
So that's going to be a pretty heavy topic, right? And this is his history, and we'll get into that. But
Ice cream is my favorite food, as you know.
Everybody's ice cream man. So watch out for that video. And then we're going to do another video about not being able to get over systemic racism and the loss of life and religion and families and rape and murder. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. So let's leave on something positive.
Wow.
What's positive that's going on in this moment in history?
Boy.
Oh, I got something. Your son, my nephew, is talking.
He what?
He's talking.
Oh, is he?
How old is he?
23 months.
24 months next month. Woohoo!
2-year-old.
So we can definitely find joy in children because they're joyful at this time. And maybe we're doing all of this to make the world a better place for them. So Hudson won't have to have conversations with us about people calling him the wrong other black kid in school.
I do. There is a good quote from John Lewis.
Oh,
he's got many, but talking about what we're gonna talk about, and racism, and he has this quote that says, "You have to have the capacity and the ability to take what people did and how they did it and forgive them and move on." And I remember him always talking about how his emails would just be flooded, like his staffers would just be going through his emails on a daily basis of people apologizing to him.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hate, like with hate.
No, people whose parents were protesters of the freedom riders,
like protesting.
Yeah, people saying sorry for their parents and their grandparents. People just saying sorry what he had to go through. And he met a man who was in the KKK, one of the men who actually hit him in the head, apologized to him and asked him if he could meet him. And they met in DC, and John Lewis said, "I forgive you."
Wow. Okay. I just got chills going.
Right?
So, wow. So not only did John Lewis forgive people that were just full of hate, but those people and the descendants, the kids of the people that were full of hate, had enough insight and knowledge and vulnerability to reach out to him and say sorry. And that is so, imagine if imagine if one person that said or did something racist or prejudiced or mean to you reached out and said, yeah, I was a jerk, I'm sorry.
Right?
That's worth thousands and thousands of dollars worth of therapy, I think. But maybe we can get around that and be like John Lewis and forgive. And we don't need people to email us to say, I'm sorry. Maybe if we can find it in our hearts to forgive, maybe we should work on that us forgiving too many things to name.
Right? Because if he can forgive what happened to him, yeah, we can try. I can try.
We can try. We can try to be like John Lewis. It's kind of like a what would Jesus do?
Right? It's like, yeah, maybe I just, what would John Lewis do?
We can make bracelets. WJL. Ooh, that's a good idea.
Oh.
No, nobody better steal that.
Too late.
Nobody better steal that, because I'm going to show this video in court that it was our idea. I mean, we'll go in with you on the profits.
Yeah.
That might not be bad. Maybe we could do that, sell those bracelets and give all of the money to some cause that John Lewis loved.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. We have so much work to do. So much work to do in this world.
Yeah, because another reason why I was just so, like, I've always loved John Lewis and, looked up to him and when he got diagnosed with cancer, I was sad, but I didn't think I would just break down the way that I did when because Tony and I were talking about, because I was like, why, we kept watching these tributes over and over on the news, and I just kept crying, and I was like, why is this one so hard? I was like, there's always these celebrities and people on TV that pass away, and civil rights icons, and I was like, this one is just really hard. And he was like, he was special. It was like, there's just not people like him anymore he was like, he stood up for everyone, not just Black people, but he stood up for everyone, like the conscience of the Congress. Like, he was just such a good man, and he just wanted better for everybody. And I think he was it. I really think he was the last one. And, I was telling Tony, I was like, no offense, but I don't have the same respect or the same feelings for Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. I really feel they've done great work. They really have. I watch Al Sharpton's show on MSNBC, but it's not the same feeling for me. It's just not.
Well, we all resonate differently with different people.
Yeah.
But I do have to think that probably a lot of people share your sentiment about resonating more with John Lewis, because like Tony said, he's special, and we don't get very many special people in a lifetime.
Right?
So we should really feel very much in awe that we, lived while he was alive, and also all of the work that he has done and all of his, consciousness is affecting us and those that are going to come after us, our children.
Like I'm gonna get these for Huddy. He did some graphic novels about freedom writers, and I didn't know that. Like, I just started like reading all this stuff and finding that out.
I'm gonna write that down.
And because he went to a Comic-Con one year, and you know how people like dress up as like the characters in their comic books and whatever. He dressed up as himself on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. He had on his little trench coat and his backpack.
Wow.
And he had in the backpack what he had on the bridge, which was like a toothbrush, an apple, and like 2 books, because he was going to go to jail. So that was going to be what he had in jail. And I was like, I love this man so much. So I don't know how they're written. I mean, I'm going to get them. And when Huddy's old enough to understand, I'm so going to read those to him.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. I will definitely link that.
It's amazing because, he was there with like all like, he's holding hands with little kids, and they probably had no idea who he was. So like, it's so great.
They probably had
about civil rights. Like, right? Okay.
And how old do you think he was when he did this?
Oh, this was not long ago.
Wow.
I mean, he was old. When did he do this? Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
I just learned so much more about him from your adoration and respect from him, which is why I wanted to have you on to talk about this. So thank you.
You're welcome. This was in 2015.
That's freaking awesome.
I don't know if you can see this picture, but it's him and his...
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, wait, can you show it one more time? Because I was talking, so I don't know.
Oh, like, do I have to talk for you to see it?
That is awesome. I just want to make sure that everyone saw that picture.
Yeah.
All right, sister, I'm going to let you relax since you have put in work today.
Relax. It's 2:30. That means I have to get dinner started, and this little boy's about to come home. And yeah.
The life of a working mom.
Life of a mom.
During COVID.
I want this to be over. I just want a vacation so bad. To go. And I mean, technically we could go somewhere. I mean, that's not off to America yet.
There's probably only 3 more countries now that'll let us in.
That's a shame. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, it's has nothing to do with this administration. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Okay, sister, I love you. I'm going to stop the recording and give my nephew a kiss for me. And thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and knowledge about John Lewis and paying homage to him. Really, really appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.